All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live stream on History Valley. And today I'm joined by Liran, one of my other co-hosts, and I'm going to be learning Hebrew for the first time. And y'all are going to witness it. So.
It's gonna be fun, I swear.
Yeah. Oh, I know it's gonna be.
All right. So I'm gonna send you photo with the Hebrew letters, and that's the one we're gonna be using. I'm gonna link it to the chat so they can follow along.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's fine.
Follow the link. So how much Hebrew do you already know?
I mean, not much. I know El means God. Mora is
That's right.
Mora is teacher. Nasi means president.
Nasi, that's right.
Ruler.
That's the one we still use for president today.
Okay.
No, that means president. Ruler is another word.
Right. And Ha means V. Basically. Shem is name.
Right. That's right. Do you know any of the vowels? That's the one everybody knows because Israelis swear a lot.
I don't remember, honestly.
All right. Okay, so the thing about Hebrew is Hebrew has two systems of letters. It has the regular letters, and I'm just going to be writing in. I'm going to be writing in what they call type font for the moment. But even though usually people don't write in type font because it's very difficult and you need to have a special type of pen for it because that's how they used to write. So here you can see Aleph, which is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, A, and that's a letter in itself. But below it, there's what we call Nikud, which is punctuation, and in English, and this is called diacritical. They have these in Arabic. They have these in Vietnamese. They have this in a bunch of other languages. If you ever saw an N with a little thing on it in Spanish that makes it into a ñ, that's technically a diacritical. It's something you put near the letter ñ.
Okay.
That's in Spanish. And yeah. Enya.
Okay.
That's just an example of a diacritic. Phonetic letters.
Could you repeat what you just said in the last 10 seconds?
I said you have letters, which is what you have in English, which are phonetical, just the same out, but then you have diacriticals. You put the diacritical on a letter and it changes the way it sounds. Like, for example, if you know in English, you might have a letter and you don't know if it's one way to say it or the other. Like C sometimes is an S and sometimes it's a K. Right? Like cocoa is coconut, but sometimes it would be a S, an S sound. Well, in Hebrew you have that too, but what?
That's what I see. I'm acknowledging.
So in Hebrew you have that too, but sometimes you put the nikud, the diacritical, the little dots around the letter, so you know how you say it. That being said, it's really important for ancient Hebrew and biblical Hebrew, but it's not used in the modern day nearly at all. You'd only see it in very rare places and like newsletters, that's poetry, sometimes in advertisements if they want to make something clear. And honestly, I haven't seen I've only had to ever after like 20 years of typing in Hebrew, I only had to ever use the diacriticals once, and it was because somebody didn't know Hebrew to do a test. So we're gonna get to those later because in modern Hebrew, like when people learn Hebrew nowadays, they just don't teach them the diacriticals because people don't use them past like elementary school. But we are gonna get to those, but we're gonna get to those after the alphabet. So we're gonna start with the alphabet or the alphabet. So if you
All
open
right.
the thing, just tell me the letters in order.
Yeah, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, He, Vav,
Hey,
Zayin, Chet.
Zain, Chet. We'll get to Chet. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samek, Ayin, Pesada, Kof, Resh, Shin, Tav.
All right, so that's the alphabet. There's 26 letters.
Mhm.
It's similar to Greek and like Abba, Gada, Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Delta, and some of them are pronounced deceptively. Are pronounced deceptively, and that in the sense of you don't say them the way they're written in English. For example, chet is not set; it's chet. And this is the part that's the most difficult for people to learn. You gotta pronounce it gutturally from the bottom of your throat. Ch, like k, ch, and also for the race, r, r,
Mm.
which is like why Chanukah is spelled ch, even though it doesn't sound anything like it, because it's a letter that doesn't exist in English. Same for the r. That's why people pronounce. It's very difficult for people to pronounce my name, and I often have to use a nickname. The r is like the ch. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with the letters now. Aleph. That's a simple one. It's like A, B. It's like B. G. It's like G
Yeah.
or gamma. D is like the H. Hey. We just say hey. It's like hey you.
Mhm.
Hey,
Yeah.
and hey is Bretty. It's like ha or hello. It's really similar to hey, hates or hates, depending what you want. Vav is a bit tricky because Vav is like who, like hello or wow. But if there are two Vavs, it's V. So just to remember,
Mhm.
we're gonna go over examples. I'm just saying this now. Okay,
Sure.
Va is W, and one Vav is can't write it. And one is Zain. Now Zain is the funniest one because Zain is the Hebrew word for spear, but it's also the word for penis.
Ah.
So if you say it and people laugh, that's because you just said the word for the male genitalia.
Right.
So and it's really funny. Chet is again. This one is deceptive because it's really. Also, I guess I should say we'll get to this on Tzaddik. There's a difference between Tzaddik and
Sure.
Zayin, and a lot of people don't figure it, and that can cause a lot of confusion. I think that happened once or so where somebody, I think it was Ellis, got mixed up between Zayin and Tzaddik, and then
Think that man mixes everything up, you know?
well,
When does he not?
no, but people,
When does he not?
well, no, but people actually mess this up that aren't Ellis because it is confusing. Chet is the weird sound that exists in Semitic languages. It's a guttural ch. It's a weird one. We'll get to it later. Tet. There's tet and there's taf. I know it says tav, but some people just say taf nowadays. Tet is a more hard t. Like if we get words from a foreign language into Hebrew, we use tet. So telephone. it's with tet, but something else like with a softer T is tough. It's like T pool against telephone. It's like, can you try and pronounce those two?
Which two do you want me to pronounce again? I heard everything else you
Tet
said.
in telephone. Yeah, tet in sorry, tet in telephone and tough for T pool.
Okay.
Telephone.
Tet
Yeah,
and tough.
tough. Remember, it's a softer T. T, t, t. Like
Tet.
the way I tell the way they teach it to people is tet. You gotta have the breath like you're gonna feel the breath on your hand if it's near your face, and for tough it's just gonna be breathy. It's gonna be let the thing flow.
So it's
Because there
like
is a
tet.
difference in yeah, tet,
Tet.
tet, tet.
Tet.
Yeah, tet. So
Tet. Like that.
yeah, it has a hard stop to it. The ta is more soft. It's like I don't know. Some people might know this in chat. In Spanish, you have a b and a v, and it's b and v. Sorry, it's b
Okay.
and v. Like
The and the.
similar
No.
in Spanish. No, that's in Spanish, but in English,
Right.
sorry, in
Right.
Hebrew, it's
Right.
t.
Well, I'm
t.
just trying to follow what you're saying. So I'm getting it.
Oh.
So it's my
Don't
tet.
worry, this stuff is difficult, but you'll get it.
Yeah. Am I getting closer?
Yeah, you're actually pretty good on this.
Oh, thanks.
This is the easy part. Trust me, people
I bet
always
it
so
is.
yod is or yud depends. People say one and another. Yod e is like e. It's like e lech, but you
Yeah, it
can
looks like a.
modify it like all of the vowels. Yeah.
It looks like a. Yeah, the Yoda is easy from. It will be easy for me because it looks like a sideways comma that's
Yes.
lifted up a little bit,
Yeah,
and
it's
that's the
easy to
only one that
confuse
looks
it
like
with.
that. So
It's
it's
easy
easy to
to
confuse it with what?
confuse it with an apostrophe.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And sometimes it's annoying, but if you have like D Maria, that's the name. You have D apostrophe Maria, and you have a U with an apostrophe, and that drives people crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm gonna get to this in a second. When you write, when you actually write, there's a different font you use for handwriting than writing on the screen. And with that, there are two ways to do U. One is like a cross without the bottom. And the other is just like a little apostrophe. I recommend using the one that's a cross because it makes it easier to read.
Okay.
All right. Chaf is one of those that could be like k, or could be like a softer chet, like chalfon, or I don't know, kapa, or could be a k, or could be a ch, depending on the way the diacritical is. But with context, people figure it out. But until you do, you're gonna have to use the diacriticals. But we'll get to the diacriticals after, because the diacriticals are their own thing. Let's just get the alphabet. Lamed, that's just like a la. It's not too difficult. Lamed,
Lamed.
um, Lamed, which is its own thing. It looks like the Harry Potter thing. Mem, that's just a m. Noon, I know it says none, but it's noon, like afternoon. Samech. Samech is a type of S sound, but it's like a whispering S, and some whispering S like like silence or strawberry.
I see.
It's a whispering type of S, and I kind of have a thing in Hebrew where I don't always do it. So I'm a ein, ein. So Ein is, you remember all of the glottal sounds like ch, k, r? Well, ein is like an but it's glottal, so ein, ein,
Oin. Oin.
ein,
Oin.
oh. We'll get to that. There's like 4
So,
sounds in Hebrew that to pronounce them, you gotta go glottal, which you only do in Semitic languages. So it's ein, chet, kuf, and reis. Those are the glottal sounds that are the first total. Pei. Pei is one of those letters that can be a p or a f. So, for example, one word is pelephone, which is slang for phone. And they just dropped the T. There's that word again. But there's also falafel, which is falafel. And they're both written with a pei. So, if I can just type in the chat, falafel. Oops. Now, okay. 1 second. I'm gonna have to get a slide. All right. After pay, there is tzadi or tzadi. They say tzadi, but some people say tzadik. Both
right.
tzadi is the proper one, but both are considered okay. Tzadik is a weird one because it's a lot of people write it like a Z, and sometimes they write it like a TZ, which is more appropriate. It's a tz, T and a Z. So tz. Think of it like 2 lightsabers hitting each other in Star Wars. Tz. To start making a T and then make a Z. Zzz. Tzadik. Give it a go.
Zadi.
Tzadi.
Zadi.
Think of saying, yeah. Tzz.
Zadi.
Tzadik.
Zadik.
Yeah. Also, tzadik is the word for righteous person, but the letter is tzadi. But people just say tzadik because.
Right, so it's pronounced with more of a Z sound.
Yeah, it's a T that becomes a Z, like Saloniki. Saloniki is a city in Greece. Or tzatziki, which is a Greek yogurt with cucumbers, dill, and lemon. I really like tzatziki. Zzz. Zzz, zzz, zzz. Then we have kuf or kof. Kof means monkey. So that's just a letter that sounds like something else. So it's kuf or kof. Kof is one of those sounds that are glottal, like k, like h, k, r, h, k, r. Those are the 4 glottal sounds we'll get to. But think about it like a K, but it's stronger. It's like some people write it with a Q because it's like the Q in Iraq. Because Iraq is, you think it would be A-R-K, but they write it A-R-Q too, so that it's the K in Arabic. That just is not in English. Res is again part of those letters that are just very difficult for foreigners to pronounce, and that's the hardest one because you got to do a r and you got to do a glottal r because when you do it, your tongue needs to be on the bottom of your mouth, and when people do the r in English or in other Latin languages, it's on the top, even though it's a bit lower in some of them, like in French, it's in the middle. So a lot of people say, "Oh, you must be French because you have a French R," and I'm like, "Nope, just do the R lower than you, but not as low, not as high as French." So I'll tell you the difference. I'll do the one race. That's the one in Hebrew, ra, and the one in English, ra, 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 ra. Re. Huh? Radio? Reish. Can you tell the difference?
Yeah, it's the way, it's a tone, the way you're pronouncing it.
Right. They use R to write it, even though it's a relative of it, but it's not R. I have to notice myself putting my tongue in the right place right now, because usually I just combine the two into race, which is not very good. Sheen. Sheen is the one that looks like a trident, and this letter exists in Russian too, in the Cyrillic alphabet, and it's like a SH, like sh. So sheen, sheen,
Sheen.
sheen, and
Sheen.
sometimes depending, yeah, and sometimes it's like samich, which granted can be confusing. So it can be confusing. So sheen is either sheen or sometimes it's seen, like the word for sign, something sign, like it's seen. And last but not least, it's tough. Tough we already went over. Tough is like tet, but it's like a softer, uh, a softer version of tet. So it's tough. And now, wait a second. Oops. Okay. So we can go over the letters in a sec. I just want to get ready the next slide.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And I'm also gonna add it to the chat so people can follow. This is how you write. You write these letters by hand, and you'll notice that okay, the letters by hand are really different than how they are in the. Some of them are, not all. Really are in the type in the other form. That's because there are two forms in Hebrew. There are print forms. They're not capital letters, because a capital letter, like you have an A, you have a big A, and a small a, yeah, and you can put them next to each other. That being said, in Hebrew you don't do it. You either write in one or you write in all of. You write in one when you type, or when you create something for print, like hand print something for the Torah book, for the big scrolls, which is only done in religious context nowadays by hand or in calligraphy, or you just use the handwritten. So Aleph would be. I can't do it because nobody does it anymore. This would be Aleph. Like this would be Aleph in print, and this would be Aleph in handwriting.
Hmm.
So if you go here, you can see. So if you go here, just go for it once and try to do it. Also, you'll notice there is the thing Sofit, or Mem Sofit, Pei Sofit, Tzadi Sofit, and Kaf Sofit. Chaf Sofit, sorry. And the reason for this is that there are four letters that, when they are at the end of the word, you write them differently. Why? It's because scribes a long time ago had to put it in order to make things seem different, as to not confuse it with the things that start in other letters. It's a scribical, clerical. It's a clerical It's a clerical Passover from a long time ago in a galaxy right here. So those are these. I actually recommend to learn these, because writing these letters can make it easier to remember them. So that being said, let's go over the alphabet one more time.
All right. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, He, Vav, Zayin, Shet,
Zayin.
Tet, Yod, Zayin. Yeah. Shet, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samek, Ein, Pe, Zada,
Pay.
Zada,
Sadi.
Zadi, Kov, Resh, Shan, Tav.
Right. That's really good. So we're just gonna focus on the ones that are kind of difficult to pronounce. And I'm gonna get it right the first time. You just gotta take the full step of on, chet, kuf, reis. So the easiest one to start with is the one that's first. It's on, oh, oh, oh.
Ein,
Yeah, that's good. Think of like, you know that thing you have in your throat that just like the thing where your voice comes from? Just think of when you do it, you wanna tense up your throat a bit and have the the voice box go lower. Oh, oh. Like, you see the throat muscles?
yeah,
Ah. Throat muscles
that's gonna take some
contract
getting used to.
because they're making the you get used to it. It's kind of one reason people think that Middle Eastern people are angry all the time. It's because nobody would contract their throat like this if they're not angry, but it's just part of the language. Oh,
Mm.
ein, het, kuf, reis. But otherwise, that's the alphabet. We're gonna start making some words. So, how would you write my name in Hebrew?
How would I write your name in Hebrew? I would start with Lamed,
Very good.
Ein,
No. What is E?
oh, right. I mean, not Ein.
You can look at the seat. It's not a test. Remember, the vowels are Aleph, Hey, are Aleph, Vav, Yud, uh, Ein, and that's about it. That there are only 5 vowels. Aleph. Tell me which one you think it is. Aleph, Vav, Yud, or Ein.
well, it can't be Ein because it's, yeah, I just erred there a second. I mean, I'm trying to figure out the I sound.
Well, it
I guess
can't
it's
be
Yod.
Aleph. Aleph
Yod.
is A. Yep, it's Yod.
Yeah, because it started coming back to me that sometimes Yod can make an I sound. Almost forgot about
Yod
it.
usually makes an I sound. Usually it does that.
Okay, so Lamed, Yod, Resh, Aleph,
That's right.
none. I mean, noon.
No, right. And you notice, I'm going to type it in the chat so people will see. So you notice that there are 2 ways of writing noon. There's the noon I wrote and this noon. If noon is at the end of the word, you just write it with a long line. That's just how it is. So you said that it would be Lamed Yud Reis Aleph Nun, and that would be correct, but there's this thing in Hebrew, we're gonna get to the diacriticals now. Oops. One second. I actually had a good one, I just want to find it. So what do you think of the letter so far?
It's making sense.
That's good.
I mean, getting there. I mean, obviously, it's going to take me time to, memorize the letters and what they look like. Memorize what they look like in Hebrew. But
Right. Well, these are too complicated.
I'll
The
get
problem
there.
with the ones is you get. There we go. There we go. Oh, gonna send it here. So there are these things called diacriticals or nikud, and let me send. Oh, this one. Ah, there we go. So these are all of the nikud. Somebody said, no, Benjatin, you gotta put the yud, because
Keep
somebody
talking.
in the
I'm just going to put all
set.
this in PowerPoint.
Okay, so Benjatin just tried writing it without the yud and said, well, you're not putting the aleph, then why isn't there the yud? Well, it's gonna sound, there are irregularities, at least in modern Hebrew, when you do and don't use the nikud. Don't use the nikud. So if you look at the nikud, some of it is like a line, like this is just an aleph. And there are some accents here, but we're gonna ignore the accents for the moment. So if there's a line, it's flat, and if there's a plus sign, it does the same in this case. And if there's two lines, it's E, and if there are three lines, it's E, and if there is a point, it's like I, and if it's above it, it's an O, like Ola, like I couldn't give an example, and if it's three lines, it's a headache. I know, but we're gonna get to the nikud later. Right now, we should just get over the letters. So I'm just gonna go to, I don't know, a news website, just a normal news website, and go to, I don't know, the sports page.
Okay.
I'm just gonna post a website on some sports news website, and people in the chat can follow along. So this is a news website, something completely boring about sports, but it's easy to read because it's written about sports.
Where's this website?
This website, it's it's an Israeli website. It's this sports website
Okay,
that
there we
covers
go.
football.
Took a second to connect.
So, do you see the title? It starts with a pay.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, can you try reading the title?
Okay, the title. It still has Hebrew letters are written in red, right?
Yes.
I think the next one's a yod. Switch to prior image.
I'm gonna give you a tzitzi to help you out. 1 second.
Is that next one an aleph?
Yes.
Okay, good. I didn't screw that up. I think the next letter is a samek, but it looks more like an O.
Right. Depending on the type font, some of it looks like an O. You know how, like in English, sometimes they can write L.
Yeah.
Similar.
I get it.
Some type fonts are set. No two ways about it.
Yeah, that's annoying. Okay, let me look at the next one. What the hell is that? Is it a quoth?
Yes.
Yeah, I got that one right. And the next one is vav.
Let me see. Yeah.
I think it's a vav. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Getting there.
Mhm. Okay, I'm gonna send you a pic that is gonna make reading the letters easier, and I'm gonna link it to chat so people can follow along.
Let me put
Yeah,
that in.
somebody mentioned gematria. Now, I'm just gonna completely ignore gematria for the time being because they teach us to. Okay, we still use it to count stuff. Like you're not in first grade, you're in grade fifth, and you're not in eighth grade, you're in grade chet because it's the eighth letter of the alphabet. So people still use gematria for practical purposes. So instead of writing, I don't know, 5592, they just write the letters corresponding to it, and they still use it to keep the date, which is weird because people just use the Latin for the Muslim date. But we're just gonna completely ignore gematria for the time being.
All right.
So, anyways, keep reading. After you read it like one time, just try attaching the sounds to the letters. Just now focus on recognizing the letters.
On the website?
Yeah, on the website, on the title.
Let me go back a couple of slides then. Wait, no, the slide's fine. Okay. Quoth.
Right.
Uh, we'll go back a couple of slides. The letters here are a little harder to read. Okay. Tet. Samak.
Right. Right.
Tet.
Again, that's right.
Resh.
That's right.
Vav.
Right.
Give me a second on this one.
It's the one in my. Oh, no. Never mind.
What the hell is that? I think that's a funny looking lamed. Or no, it's a calf. It's a calf. I just realized it.
No, it's not a half. It's something similar looking.
Shit. Noon. None.
It's pay. Okay, so I know this is a lot, but sometimes the fonts you got to be creative with them because this is a kind of a biblical font. But you see the little dot on the pay. Sometimes they just write it flat.
And the next one is
That's a
lamed.
lamed. Yeah, lamed
And the
is the
one after
easiest
that,
one to recognize. It looks like a lightning bolt.
and I think the one after that is a yod.
Yes. All right, now let's try and see what it says. And I'm gonna tell you now, both of the words are words that exist in English. If not, they didn't come from English, but they're used and they exist in English all the time.
All right.
So from the start,
Say that again. I'm sorry.
read the two words from the start, but try and pronounce them as you do.
From the start of the actual article.
No, the actual title, but yeah.
I'll reread the title.
Yes, especially the first word. Just focus right now on the first word, this one.
All right. So try to remember what that one is again. It's
It looks different from the one on the slide because it doesn't have a pointy hat.
give me a second. Okay.
Pay, that's right.
Okay, great. The next one's Yod.
Right. Now, I'll go and tell you now, those two are one syllable in the word. So how would that syllable sound like? There are two options, but I'll tell you which one is right.
Could be. It'll actually sound like P.
Right, so it could be P, or it could be, what's the other word of pay? What's the other way you write the sound that pay makes?
Remind me.
F, like falafel.
F.
Yeah.
All right, so we got P, Yod, Aleph, Samak.
Yeah.
And next one is give me a second on this one. Kof.
Right.
Vav.
Right. Put them all together.
Give me a second. Fiskov. Fiskov.
Fee. We'll go syllable by syllable. The first syllable is fee,
Fi.
and then what does the aleph do? Fee.
Ah. Was it
Right. And
Fia?
then fia.
Fia.
And then s samech. Fias.
Fia Samath.
No, samech is the letter. Samech does a s.
Right. Fias.
And kuf is k, and vav is o. So it's fia.
Fiask.
Okay, add the last syllable.
Fiaske.
Fiasco. Which is
Fiasco.
yeah, fiasco.
Interesting.
Now this is a sensationalist. This is a sensationalist article, so just expect the words to be over the top.
So, fiasco is how you pronounce this in Hebrew, but I'm assuming it doesn't mean the same thing as fiasco in
No, it
English,
means the same thing.
or it actually does.
Yeah, he's using a loan word, like I don't know when you say. I'll think of a loan word.
Are they trying to transliterate fiasco into Hebrew?
Yes, this is a transliteration of fiasco. But we say
Oh,
fiasco all the time.
I see.
And
I
the
get
next word is also a transliteration.
Okay, thanks for the hint. Okay, good to know. Kof,
Right?
Tet,
Yeah.
Samak, Tet. Give me a second on this one. That's a resh, isn't it?
Yes.
Nice. Vav.
Right.
I forget what that is again. Come on. I totally forgot what that is for some reason.
Let's
Is
look
that
at
a cop?
let's look at the slide. The one after the race. Yeah, that's a vav. Remember, vav is just a straight line. It looks, and it's kind of annoying because it looks exactly like L when you type a small case L in English, which causes a lot of confusion. So you could have, I don't know. I'm just gonna write it to show you why one of my pet peeves. Vav L big I. I just wrote 3 letters that look exactly the same.
Yeah, they do. It just depends on which one's taller than the other.
Yeah, that's the only way to tell them apart. Because there's
Lovely.
Vav and L and then I. Anyways, that's a Vav. After the Vav, we have a.
I think
It's the
that's
one that
a
has a
Dalit. Dalit.
No, it's not Dalit.
Resh.
No.
Just
I'll
tell me
highlight the
what it
letter.
is.
It's a pay.
Okay.
Pay. And then we have a. It's the one that looks like a lightning
Yod.
bolt.
Yod.
Before the yod.
Wait a minute. I thought that was the one we were just looking at.
I'll read the letters again. It's.
I just looked it up. It's a Lamek. It's a Lamek.
Yeah, it's a lamed. Lamed.
Okay.
Lamed. So I'm gonna read the letters out with you. K. T.
Huh?
Yeah. T.
Okay.
T.
Start over. I got lost.
All right. Ka. Ta. T.
Huh?
Ro.
Raw?
Catastro. Now, what does that sound like? I'm gonna tell you it's a transliteration, but the suffix
Yeah.
is gonna make it in Hebrew. So I'm not going over the suffix. Yeah.
Kata?
Right. Oh, sorry. 1 second.
Wait a minute.
Kata.
Are they trying to say catastrophe?
Yeah. But we're gonna get to the catastrophe. But then they add a li. Now, when you say li to something, it can have 2 ways. It could either be a suffix to make it in that way, or you can make it mine. Here they're using it to say that's in that way. So when they say catastrophali, it means catastrophe-like. All right? Yeah, Bentison got it right. Catastrophali.
Catastrophe. Okay.
Which means catastrophic. This is just how you use catastrophic in Hebrew. And you remember the first word?
First word?
Yeah.
Just give me. I gotta go to the bathroom real fast. So just give me a second.
So, okay. Now it's not the number of words. It's the meaning. Yeah, just here, those the chat. Let's talk about languages and the vocabulary size. Uh, Vocabulary size is not an indicator for how deep or sophisticated the language is, in my opinion, because the meaning language creates is usually from combining words. The word set, S-E-T, count can change, like off an example. So, when looking at the language, it's not about how many words there are, it's how much meaning you can do with them, and that's just not something you can count. Theophilus, Ugaritic, Phoenician, und Letters. No, nobody learned Hebrew that way ever. I'm sorry. I knew people that went to an ulpan or a studio for learning Hebrew as a secondary language. Nobody did that. Nobody. Also, to be clear, sorry about that. Somebody told me those voice. Also, that being said, modern Hebrew, because it was dormant for 2,000-ish years, uses the same alphabet as biblical Hebrew, with some changes here and there. But honestly,
I'm
it's
back.
not. Nobody can read Torah, so that's it. No way. All right. So you remember the last word in the title?
Uh, the last word in the title.
Hmm. It's a transliteration of an English word that starts with an F.
Catastrophe. The
No, that's
last
the
one is
second word.
word. Okay. The second word.
Fiasco catastrofali.
Fiasco catastrophale.
Right. So thing you need to know about Hebrew. Hebrew is a language that has. If in English you would say red cow, in Hebrew you would say cow red. So it's in English it would be object description. In Hebrew it would be description. Sorry, description object. So red cow. Yeah. Oh, that's a red cow. Hebrew it would be cow red. So para is cow and aduma is red. So para aduma would be red cow, and in English it would be so you would say sorry cow red, but in English you would say red cow. Hebrew is the opposite. So if this person says fiasco
I
catastrophic, he
learned
means
for some
yeah.
reason when you move, it makes a tapping sound. You have something that's making a tapping sound often when you.
Now
Okay, it's gone.
yeah, I think all right. That just must be the table. Why does somebody in the chat ask why does yod float? I have no idea. Anyways, So if we want to say catastrophic, so the person said fiasco, catastrophic, but in Hebrew that would be, or that would mean,
You tell me.
catastrophic fiasco.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Um, that one was kind of, that one was, I wouldn't say easy because none of this is easy, but that one was a transliteration of words in English, and I'm going to be using a bunch of those for this to make things easier. So we're going to go to the next word. And I'm going to tell you in advance, this word talks about Italy. Italy.
So the next word in the title, right?
Yeah. It has Italy. The word is Italy, but there are two letters at the start that are going to change the meaning. And we're going to get to those two letters, and then we're going to talk about how you write Italy. Also, notice in Hebrew we don't say Italy, we say Italia like they do in a bunch of other languages. I think Italy is also Italia in Italian.
I see.
So the first letter is,
I just looked it up on that. It was cough.
right. The second letter is,
Shin.
it's the pointy one. Right. Now that's
Olive.
K.
Yo.
Yeah, Aleph. Yod.
Yod.
Hey, go ahead.
Tet.
Yeah.
Lamed.
Right.
Yod.
Right.
He.
Hey. Hey. Yeah, that's right. So this word would read,
It would be Kasha. Kashat.
no, Kese. I know it's
Kasa.
confusing, but you gotta remember Kese.
You
And
broke up there, Larry.
and the thing to remember when you see se means when, and kese means, or kese in this context, it just means when. But you put it at the start of the word. So you know how if you have hey and you put it next to a word, it means the something. Like ha kohen gadol means the high priest, right?
Yeah.
So when you put kese next to a word, it means when that word.
So Kasa.
Right. I know it's attached to the world, but it's going to be easier to think about it as its own separate word entirely, kind of like in English, at least for the start. Excuse me. So Keshe, and remember, this other word is about. It's a country that starts with I.
Right. You're saying it's about Italy, right?
Yeah, it's about Italia.
But this word, casse, cassehe, if that's how you pronounce it. How's that about Italy? Like, I'm not getting.
Esse Italia, which is Hebrew for when Italy. Just when, so when you see ke and se together, it means when. That's kind of that's how we're gonna look at it now. Now it's a bit more complicated than that, but in this context, que se, kuf and sin means when Italy. Okay? And it's not Italy,
Okay.
it's Italy. Next word.
He.
Huh?
So look that up. Okay. He.
Huh?
Kaf.
Right?
He.
Right. And that's, if you say that, this is a tricky one, so I'll help you out. It's hafcha, which is Hebrew for
Hafa.
became. Hafcha.
Hafa.
Hafcha. Ha. Ha.
Hafa.
Yeah.
Hafa. So what are they referring to with that word?
That means became.
Oh, right. Okay. You just said it.
Yeah.
Lamed. Samak.
Right?
Vav.
No. Now I know it's confusing, but if there's a long vav, and you can tell it's long because the bottom of it extends below the line, it's a
Noon.
nun. Right?
Yeah. I looked it up.
And I'm gonna tell you now, the lamed in this case is in this context means two. Because there are like four letters that if you put in front of a word, sin, hey, it's kuf, sin, hey, and lamed. If you put those in front of a word, those are like articles. So hey is the, se is when, ke is also when, what is it? He is also when, and lamed is two. Uh, yeah, is two. Those are like articles you put before words. But we're not gonna look into that. So it's gonna tell you that le in this word means two. So what is samech and nun?
What is Samak Anun?
Yeah, what word do they spell out?
Afternoon?
What? No, samech and the letter nun.
I got confused for a second. Okay. Samak and Noon. Okay, what letter do they spell out?
S, n,
Samak and Noon. S and N.
right. What word in English sounds like S and N? It's not sun. I'm gonna tell you now because you would need to know Likud
Sin.
for this. So that's my bad. Sun.
All right. I see.
So that's sun. So, and the next word, I'll tell you now. This is a country.
Is that where Italy's mentioned?
Sorry. No. Don't think about it now. I'll tell you what it means in a second.
So the first letter there is mem. Next one is resh, yod, and I think that's another mem. Actually,
No,
it's
it's a
not.
nun.
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Let me figure it out. Okay, I confused two different Hebrew letters with what was one letter. Kaf. No, it's a noon.
Hmm?
Never
That's
mind,
a
that one's a
nun.
noon. And the next one is
Remember, if
it's
it's a long, if it's a line,
it's a vowel,
yeah.
but it's making a wah sound instead.
No, it's making an O sound. So how would you read that word?
Mir, Miran, Miranth.
Marino. Now, this is
Well,
confusing because there's no Nikud, and the Nikud will tell you how which vowel you would use. But I'm just going to tell you now, it's San Marino. Do you know where San Marino is? It's
San Marino.
yeah, it's a small kind. I'm going to put in the chat too.
It's a landlocked country located it's located
Somewhere in Southern
it's a
Europe.
European microstate enclave within Italy.
Yeah. So that's not the point. So the thing is, I'm going to read the title, and it says "Fiasco catastrofali, כשאיטליה הפכה לסן מרינו." So that's already know the first part is catastrophic fiasco. Italia means when Italy הפכה became or transformed, both would be valid. So when Italy became into or to San Marino. So this is an article about football, and Italy did really bad. And the guy who wrote it said, catastrophic fiasco when Italy became into San Marino, meaning they suck. If there are any Italian football fans, I'm sorry.
I think I'm good for a few more minutes, and then I'm like,
Yeah, no, it's all right. This part is the hardest. So,
yeah, I
this
can
part is
tell.
the hardest. But what, until you get it, so let's just go over the letters again. Just read me the title.
The entire title.
Yeah.
Pe Yod Aleph Samak.
Oh no, I mean, read what the word says. Like, just read it normally.
Give me a second. Payaka. That's our fiasco. Catastrophia. Kisiana.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm trying to read the next word. Hold on.
Oh,
Give me a
sorry, I
sec.
froze up for a second. So remember the first word. So I'll tell you what the thing says in English.
That's a p. Okay. Hipaka.
Hafcha.
Ha ha.
Hafcha.
Ha ha.
Hafcha.
Ha ha.
Close enough.
And the next one is
L.
San
Yeah.
Miran.
San Marino.
San Marino.
Right. So altogether it would be fiasco catastrofali. Italia הפכה לסן מרינו.
All right.
So that's just like the first lesson, getting used to the alphabet, seeing how it's written, and you might notice that the way it's written and the way it's said is not enough for you to form the letter. That's because after a while, so you need to know the Nikud, so you know the context for the letters. But we're gonna get to that later. First, you should figure the use of the letters as they are, and then you can get to Nikud, which for biblical Hebrew and reading biblical text, it's gonna be necessary, but not for modern Hebrew so much.
All right, everybody. What was that?
So that was actually really good for a first lesson. You're picking it up quite quickly.
Oh, good. I'm glad to see I'm doing well. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'm going to close out and I'll see y'all later.
Bye, guys.
Hello viewers, thanks for watching the video from the History Valley YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if any of you wish to further support this channel, please consider checking out this channel's Patreon page and becoming a patron. And or donate through PayPal or through Super Chat during your live stream. Thank you.